Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? What is my set of pipes and my impressive lead-in? I don't know what that's all about, but hello Anarchy Monkey and Daniel. Is that Twet or Tweet It? You know I suck at pronouncing names. Oh my god, I messed them all up. But yeah, I've been trying to get this particular show done. And it's just been so crazy busy. I've been doing a lot of training with Lpedia, and yeah, and just life issues. But here we are. So we are just going to jump right in it. We have a... And listen, none of my cool necklaces are out. So look, you know, I've got to have my... my anarchy symbol. Okay. And look, it's Bettina Dean. Yeah, I am looking at all my comments, everybody. So let's just get right into it because there was quite a bit left over from the last time we were doing March, April 1973. So let me pull up this screen here and the issue we are looking at, which is... Did I hit it? Why? There we go. All right, so we need to get to the page that is the political perspective. So let's do that right there. And I need to get my hard copy because no way is my eyes going to be looking all the way up there. I need new contacts so bad, it's not even funny. I am getting so freaking old. But yes, now... What was great about the political perspective for this time is it's all about third parties. Now, these third parties, at least most of them, do not exist today, but I think there's lessons still we could learn about the competition, right? At the time of the LP. Yeah, tweet it. Oh, Daniel. Okay, so let's just get into this. And of course, we'll have all kinds of commentary on the way. Oh, but I got something to tell you all. Oh my God, do I have the tea? Now, you all know that I've been very interested in the People's Party. And I've kind of like been doing my opposition research on them from the outside. And I've also said to my chagrin, that I have very good political instincts, which makes me want to die because, like, politics is so gross. Why couldn't I be good at something that wasn't so gross? And I could see what was going on. Okay, that's why my last episode on the People's Party was called Trouble in Paradise, Trouble in Commie Paradise, because I saw what was happening. Well, I got interviewed today by somebody who's like one of the disaffected people from the People's Party, and I had it nailed, man. But I'll do a whole other People's Party show. I am way behind in that, but I've got some tea for you guys. But here we go. Now back to third parties in 1973. So David Nolan says, there is a myth continuously promulgated by our educational institutions and news media to the effect that the two-party system is the ultimate political ideal, that only cranks and madmen ever challenge this hallowed institution, and that third parties are un-American. Thus, the role of minority parties in our history is ignored, or where that is impossible, downplayed as much as possible. That isn't so true today. I don't think the media right now thinks the two-party system is ideal. They kind of just think of it as a necessary evil, and each election pass the panic button and go, next time you can vote for your third party candidate, but this election is the most important one in our lifetimes. It's funny how every election gets that same screed. Need to caffeine and sugar up. All right. Nevertheless, the minority party tradition is in reality very much a part of our history. And you guys, if you could let me know if the sound is decent, because when I was doing Cult of RONR, they were telling me my sound was too low. And I'm wondering if now it's too high. Is it distorting at all? Because I'm seeing it peak here. So let me know, because I think maybe I do need to turn down the gain a little. Perhaps the most striking example is the rise of the Liberty Party and it says in parentheses, abolitionists. In the 19th century, in 1840, this group drew only 7,000 votes in the presidential election. By 1860, this anti-slavery party had evolved into the victorious Republican Party, which supplanted the Whigs as one of the two major parties. The result of this upheaval was the abolition of slavery in the United States. Interesting. I did not know that they started way back in 1840. So, okay. For some reason, I thought the third party that ended up becoming the Republican Party, like, did it very quickly, like, within the space of election, but I guess I was wrong. In the 20th century, minority parties have played equally important roles. In 1912, Theodore Roosevelt's progressive, and they have in parentheses, Bull Moose Party, drew 27.5% of the popular vote, 4.1 million out of 15 million cast, coming in ahead of the regular Republicans. And that same election, the socialist Eugene Debs drew 900,000 votes, or 6% of the total. As a result, the Democratic Party candidate Woodrow Wilson was elected president with only 42% of the vote. Murray Rothbard has described Wilson as the biggest SOB in American history. Funny. Other minority party candidates who have had a major impact on 20th century presidential elections include Robert La Follette, whose Progressive Party got 1/6 of the vote in 1924, Strom Thurmond and Henry Wallace in 1948, and George Wallace in 1968. Now, what's interesting, and I'm going to start, I'm doing not another show, like entirely another show, but I'm doing another subject matter soon. I'm going to start covering current issues of ballot access news, because I don't think we are nearly educated enough on ballot access issues, and I know not everyone has a subscription to Ballot Access News, or maybe you just don't want to go through it all because it's not all things that would be of interest to libertarians, but I'm going to start doing that. I hope there is interest. Okay, let's continue. Other minority party but why I said that, man, my ADD. Since 1968, with the George Wallace third party run, and actually even a little bit more recently with the little guy from Texas. Oh my God, Ross Perot. My memory. The Republicans and Democrats, every time a third party or a minority party gets any kind of success, they just change the rules. So everyone who's out there whining and crying saying third parties don't have a chance, yeah, because the rules are rigged. And rather than telling the third parties to go away, you should be crucifying the fuck. Excuse me, I'm trying to curse less because YouTube doesn't like that. Sorry. I need to create a curse jar, you know, where I have to pay myself or donate to the LP or something every time I drop the F-bomb. I'm never going to stop saying like ass and shit like that and shit. But I need to really start curbing the F-bomb. So I got to come up with a way to punish myself. See, if I made a jar where I donated to the LP, that's not like a punishment. I need to find something repulsive, like donating to the communists or something. That'll stop me from cussing. Maybe. Ross Perot is the guy. But okay. Here we go. So other minority party candidates who've had a major impact on I already read that one. Here we go. Still, other minority party candidates have played a role in our history by putting pressure on the major parties to adopt their programs. Now that still happens. The LP does that. Notable examples are the prohibitionists in the first 2 decades of the century and 6-time socialist candidate Norman Thomas in the 30s and 40s. Do you know that the Prohibition Party still exists? And their platform is the same? Like they want to bring back alcohol prohibition? Like what kind of just like sourpuss shriveled up old biddies must be in that party. That's all I can say. And the minority party tradition is far from dead. According to Congressional Quarterly, there have been no less than 90 minority party presidential candidates in the last 11 elections, 1932 through 1972. Analyzing the vote totals received by these 90 candidates, we find some significant patterns. Of the 90, 14 received so few votes that their totals are not given, 6 received less than 1,000 votes, 10 received from 1,000 to 3,000, 6, including the LP in 1972, received from 3,000 to 10,000, 13 received from 10,000 to 30,000, 28 received from 30,000 to 100,000, 7 received from 100,000 to 300,000, 2 got between 300,000 and 1 million, 3 received between 1 million and 3 million, and only 1, George Wallace, received over 3 million votes. These figures indicate that there is an invisible dividing line at about the 100,000 vote level. Below this line, minority parties are simply drawing votes from people who are already committed to the stands taken by the party. Above 100,000, the party is tapping a broader pool of public dissatisfaction with the way things are. Okay. Damn bra strap, man. I always say we can put a man on the moon, but we can't keep bra straps on shoulders. Thus, in order for us to have a measurable effect on the course of national politics, we will have to build the LP up to the point where we join that relatively elite group of minority parties which can draw 100,000 votes in a national election. And we did that pretty soon after this happened. That did not take very long. Can we do it? In order to answer this question, we must look at the results of the 1972 election. We were only on the ballot in 2 states in 1972, by the way, so as they pertain to minority parties. For in these figures lie not only the clues to our future prospects, but the clues to the future of other minority parties as well. And from here, we're getting into analyzing the minority parties of that day, and let's see what lessons we can learn. So, and TJ is telling me, don't stop cussing, it's my right. Yeah, it's my right, and it's also YouTube's right to deny me monetization. And yeah, I want the money. I'll whore out my right to cuss for the money. I don't know if I can do it though. I enjoy it way too much. Okay, let's continue here. The American Party. 1972, successor to George Wallace's American Independent Party of 1968. There is a current third party today with the word American in it, and they're like neo-Nazis. I can't remember their name. Is it the American Freedom Party or something like that? Like, the name is totally dissonant, like, with the fact that they are, and I'm not saying that like the way everybody's a Nazi today. I mean, like, they are literal white supremacists. You know, they're not the white supremacists the way everybody today seems to be a white supremacist. Okay. John Schmitz of California, continuing. This is less than 1/9 of Wallace's 68 showing, but indicates a broad enough base to provide for its continued existence. The American Party was on the ballot in states whose votes add up to 2/3 of the national total. Thus, if the AP is on the ballot in all states in 76, it could be expected to draw on the order of 1.5 million votes, or 2% of the national total. If the GOP nominates a liberal and the AP can come up with a candidate as well known as George Wallace, their vote could be even higher. On the other hand, the AP may well continue to go downhill. The States' Rights Party, which drew 1.2 million votes in 1948, was able to muster only 111,000 votes in 56 and only 45,000 by 1960. They did not run a candidate in 52. By 1964, the States' Rights Party no longer existed. All indications are that the American Party plans to stick around, however, for at least one more presidential election. it will probably remain the largest minority party. Okay, so in 73, the American Party was the third largest party. And I don't know if they remained that. I don't know. In other words, when we became the third largest party, I don't know who we dethroned, if that was the American Party or another party at that time. Because I think it was around 1980 that we became the third largest, and we've maintained that since then. Okay, now next, the People's Party. This is a different People's Party than I'm talking about today. There have been multiple parties throughout our history that have called themselves the People's Party, which I just think is a really arrogant name. I don't know. It's like, really? Well, you don't represent me. Am I not a people? I don't know. That name just really rubs me the wrong way. The People's Party is not, strictly speaking, a party at all. Rather, it is a coalition of numerous left liberal parties which operate under various names in different states. Nationally, it is the successor to the New Party, never even heard of them, and the Peace and Freedom Party, which had several factions in 1968. The 4 New Party and Peace and Freedom Party tickets, one of them a no candidate ticket. Interesting, they had a NOTA ticket. Drew 110,000 votes in 68. The 72 Spock-Hobson ticket drew only 78,000. Nonetheless, this is a strong showing since Spock was on the ballot in only 10 states, representing about 25% of the national electorate. And Spock himself said that he hoped McGovern would win, thus deliberately undercutting his own campaign. Oh, you mean like lying Bill Weld? Don't get me going, man. Given 50-state ballot status, the People's Party could well draw upwards of 300,000 votes nationally in 76, especially if the Democrats nominate a moderate. If, on the other hand, the Dems run another McGovern type, the People's Party could find itself squeezed out between the Dems on one side and the more militant leftist parties on the other. Like the American Party, however, the People's Party is likely to stick around for at least another election. Well, they died soon after that, I guess. Now, this next one is still around, which is the Socialist Workers' Party. And though that whole concept makes me want to throw up in my mouth, I will give them props that their name is accurate, like truth in advertising. Like when the New People's Party was trying to come up with their name, like they asked anyone to like put forth names, so I suggested the Communist Party, but and I said because truth in advertising, but no, they went for the People's Party, which again, you got to have a big head for that. All right. The Socialist Workers' Party is the most aggressive of the various leftist parties. Its vote totals have risen steadily from 8,000 in 1956 to 65,000 in 1972. The SWP also has a built-in source of funds. The former owner of the Arm & Hammer of the Arm & Hammer Baking Soda Company left the SWC the proceeds of his holding in his will. Is the name of that company have something to do with socialism? Is the hammer in there like the hammer and sickle? Does anyone know that? Was the Arm & Hammer Baking Soda Company like founded as a commie company? Not that I would punish them for that today. They can't help their founders. But weird. SWP was on the ballot in states representing 50% of the electorate in 72. Given its militancy, it could draw upward of 150,000 votes in 76, given 50-state ballot access. And since the SWP has been around since 1948, when the Trotskyite faction split off from Norman Thomas's Socialist Party, it is virtually certain that the SWP is here to stay. And that is true. They are still around. I think this next one is still around too. The Socialist Labor Party has been around since 1892. Oh, well, it's been around forever. I bet you it still is around today then. In the last 5 elections, its vote total has hovered around 50,000. The SLP is going nowhere. The Socialist Workers' Party is getting all the new blood. SLP may plod along indefinitely, but has no prospects of becoming a significant third party. I'm wondering if they're still around. If any of y'all want to ask Google, I'd be curious. And the next one, and here's a sentence I'm going to really relish saying. The Communist Party is another loser. Loser. Yeah, okay. Its high point was in 1932 when it drew 103,000 votes. Good. Fuck the commies. Oh, there I went again. I think in order to cure me of the F-bomb, I'm going to have to say I'll donate to the Socialist Workers' Party for every F-bomb. You think? I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Because it's got to be something that just is going to be repulsive to me in order to get me to stop. It managed to get on the ballot in states containing 50,000 of the population. It pulled 25,000 votes. Thus, at best, it might get 50,000 if it were on the ballot everywhere. You want to know what's not working? I'm going to have to write Ecamm about this. Like, I have this little screen that's supposed to tell me, like, how many people are viewing live. And people are commenting, so I know there's people watching, but all of my screens say 0. Something is messed up. I'm going to have to put in a trouble ticket. An interesting observation along these lines. The vote for parties openly calling themselves socialist or communist have dropped steadily for the last 60 years. That is not true now. That is not true now. It's been growing, and that is scary, isn't it? The best they have done is Eugene Debs, 6% in 1912. And by 1932, Norman Thomas was able to muster only a bit over 2%, with all the socialists and communists combined drawing 2.5%. By 1948, Thomas could only draw 1/4%, and last year the SWP, SLP, and communists got 1/6% between them. I wish that was true today. During this same period, however, virtually everything the communists and socialists advocated in 1930s has been done. Ouch! Oh, that is painful. He's basically saying they got everything they wanted. So don't let people say, like, the shit, well, shit's okay. The shit we have isn't communist. The shit we have is what the communists were running on in the 30s. I love, like, how, like, pudgy YouTube leftists, I don't know why they're all pudgy, but pudgy YouTube leftists try to say, you guys keep saying this is socialist. You don't even know what socialism is. Well, I think the frickin' communists in the 1930s did. In addition to the 5 minority parties already covered, a number of others made the scene in 72. I mentioned them, but here we go. The Prohibition Party, whose all-time high vote of 259,000 occurred in 1904. You guys, get me a picture of what would the governing body of the Prohibition Party be? Like, so we have the DNC, LNC, RNC, so be the PNC or whatever. I want to see what they look like. I am picturing, like, 90-year-old crabby old biddies. Oh boy. By 76. Okay, last year they only polled 13,000 votes. Which kind of 13,000 losers voted for the Prohibition Party? And you know their mascot, like ours is the porcupine, and you got, you know, the elephant and the donkey. Theirs is the camel. By 76, it may well be defunct. Nope, they're still around. The America First Party, interesting. That sounds like something Donald Trump would have formed, right? On the ballot in one state drew 1,743 votes. The Universal Party got 199, and others such as the Loyal USA Party, the Realist Party, and the Geronimo Party received too few to be recorded. I guess, was the Natural Rights Party not around then? Because for a while, there was a lot in common with the LP, but they were very, like, mystical. Like, they had a lot of woo. But I've seen, like, some things in our archives about the Natural Rights Party. So where does this leave us? What can we learn from these figures? Fortunately, there are 3 states where we can compare our results with those of 2 other parties, socialist workers and communists, on a head-on basis. In Washington and Colorado, LP, SWP, and CP were all on the ballot. In California, all 3 were write-ins, and all 3 waged organized efforts. These are the results. We kicked their ass in every state that we were on. Good. I'm so competitive. I'm even worried about kicking their ass in 1973. Okay, Washington. LP 1,537, SWP 623, CP 566. I'm not going to read each of these. I'll just say that the percentages were about the same on all of them, as far as how much further the LP in its first run got over those established minority parties. These figures show a consistent pattern. Overall, in each state separately, we received more votes than the SWP and CP combined. In each case, we got approximately twice as many votes as the SWP and 3 times as many as the communists. Above, we have estimated the SWP's potential national total at 150,000 given 50 state ballot access. This would indicate that we could draw 300,000 under the same circumstances. Or, using the CP's national potential of 50,000 votes as a yardstick, we can estimate our own at 150,000. In sum, given 50 state ballot access, we can reasonably estimate our vote gathering potential as 150 to 300,000 nationwide, enough to have significant effects. And this assumes that we do not increase public awareness of and sympathy for the libertarian viewpoint to a higher level than it was in 72. So if we are to do what we are capable of 500,000 to 1 million votes are not beyond our reach. You will note, however, that all of these projections are based on the basis of 50 state ballot access. And to indicate just how vital that is, note that all 3 minor parties shown above drew only about 90% as many votes in California as in Colorado, even though California is 9 times bigger in population. This shows that being on the ballot multiplies votes by a factor of 10. Thus, oh, D. Frank, you're going to love this. D. Frank, are you still out there? You're going to love this. Thus, striking down discriminatory ballot laws is our most important project. Amen. So if you haven't written to Senator, I know I'm mispronouncing this name, Bay yet, do it now. That was interesting. Sorry. I like throwing papers around. Okay, but I've got more. And yes, there's more. But I told you guys last time that I found the insert for this issue and that we would go over it this time. So, yeah, Frank, so if you heard that sentence about the discriminatory ballot access laws. All right, now let me pull up this next insert. Let me find where I put it. Okay, I think this is it. Here we go. So here was the insert for this issue. So it says, learn the mysterious power to uncloud men's minds at the 1973 Libertarian Party Convention in Cleveland, June 8th through 10th. You may notice we had a convention in 72 and then in 73. So at that time, and I'm not sure when this stopped, we had conventions every year. I believe there was one in 75, 76, and 77. I don't think there was one in 78. And then after that, we were doing odd year conventions. So we used to nominate our candidates a year ahead of time. And then in 1996, we went to even year conventions every other time, every other year. Okay, so tired of conferences where an endless series of speakers give lengthy monologues on the meaning of meaning. And the role of frisbee tournaments in the ideal society, while you sit silent, learning nothing of how to actually hasten the day when that society becomes a reality. He is making fun of libertarians here, you guys might not know, but basically saying that most libertarian conferences, you sit around debating the meaning of meaning, which I can see that, and that it's better to get off your booty and do something. If so, you'll find the 1973 Libertarian Party Convention a refreshing change, because this will be a gathering of people who already have their heads together and are looking for ways to work more effectively for freedom in our time. 3 major sessions are scheduled, one on the use of mass media, one on using specific issues to gain public support for the libertarian movement, and one on fundraising. Each of these sessions will be led by a panel of people who have actually done these things, and successfully. But the panelists won't be the only ones talking. Everyone who has a contribution to make will be given an opportunity to do so. In addition, there will be a number of special interest workshops, social events, and plenty of free time for informal rap sessions. Rap did not mean the same thing then as it does now. They were not talking about people going spitting rhymes, okay? Words change. Though I would love to see some informal rap sessions at a Libertarian Party convention. A bunch of pasty white people trying to rap. Oh, the 100 people who attended the 72 LP convention described it as the best libertarian get-together ever. There wasn't 100 people at that convention. Well, maybe there was 100 people, but there weren't 100 delegates. I think there were 78 delegates. D. Frank, you'd know. This year's will be bigger. Estimated attendance, 250, and even better. So don't miss out on the Libertarian event of the coming summer. Register now. You don't even have to be an LP member to attend. Check out these prices. Our conventions are too damn expensive. Don't come for me. That's my opinion. But let me tell you also my opinion. I have a heretical opinion, and this is why I got frozen out of the convention committee in Colorado, even though I've saved their ass on multiple conventions and know what I'm doing. I don't believe in the beauty pageant crap at conventions. Conventions, you're there to do party business. Like, I don't believe in all this attention and effort going to all the side hoopla. You're there to do business. That's what you're supposed to do. You know, you don't need all that side hoopla. It's going to cost $400 just to go to a damn convention. Register now. And let me tell you, Colorado's convention, Colorado, a state convention, is $300. $300. D. Frank, he said 100 at the 72 convention. So, do you think I bought tickets to the Colorado convention? No. I don't got an extra $300 laying around to see people I can see all the time. No. Way too expensive. The budget, I am going to rant now. The budget for the Colorado conventions are generally $14,000 to $16,000. Do you want to know what our budget is throughout the year for political stuff? 8, maybe? So we spend more on that frickin' convention than we do running candidates. Now, we try to at least break even, so it's not like we spend it out of pocket. We break even. But still. And they use the convention as the major fundraising event of the year. So if you have a shitty convention, you just screwed yourself for the next year. I totally don't believe in that. But anyway, that's why they don't let me on the convention committee anymore in Colorado. Even though I know what I'm doing. Okay, now let me go back to these prices in 73. Registration fee for LP members is $8 prior to May 15th, $10 after May 15th. For non-members, it's $10 prior to May 15th and $12.50 after May 15th. Can you imagine? I don't know what that would be adjusted for inflation. What was $8.73 money? What would that be today? If someone could like run that through something. I'm sure Google could answer that. But I bet you it ain't 400 or 500, whatever it is for a gold ticket nowadays. And it says a reservation form on the other side. Additional material, including a reservation card for the Holiday Inn, where the convention is being held, will be sent to all registrants. And I forgot to scan the other side. I think I have it. I can like download it. I mean, I didn't forget to scan it. I forgot to bring it. But let me pull this up. Let me see. Because I would like to show it to you guys. I can't believe I forgot to download it. I'm such an idiot. Let's go. Let's go here. Let me continue. Where is my G drive? Okay. And Pink Flame of Liberty folder. Okay, we're getting there. I only uploaded the one. Or is it? Did I? Oh, here we go. I'm such an idiot. Here we go. But it's sideways. That doesn't help you guys much, does it? But you can see it at least. So $8 in 1973 is $47. Let's just say $50 in today. Okay? I would pay $50 gladly. 400 or whatever. That's crazy. Okay, I'm sorry it's sideways, but I'll tell you, it's the registration form. And you could volunteer to give a talk, do a workshop. And the banquet would be $10. Now that's a lot considering the whole convention was $8, but okay. Still, that's kind of strange. And you could go if you weren't an LP member, so on and so forth. And then on the other side, there's an order form for bumper stickers to declare your independence. I showed you guys that last time. The laissez-faire and declare your independence, we've looked at those. These brochures, the Hosper's 4th of July speech, I do not have that. Newsletter, 72 platform. The political action manual, I don't think I have that. I need to check for that. And then the statement of principles, hand lettered on 11 by 14 heavy textured paper. I have that for the current statement of principles, but I would love to find a copy of it with the pre-Dallas Accord statement of principles, which is what this would have been. And Julian has made his appearance. Okay, so that's that. But I promised you guys some other things. Let me put all this aside for 1 second. In the main issue, there was, if you remember, a tax day protest, and I was encouraging you guys to do such things. Now, this year it's tough because with the pandemic and all that, April 15th isn't when taxes are due, and if you do it later in the year, it just doesn't have the same impact. So this year, not a good thing, but when we get back to normal, allegedly, those are great to do. And I had told you it's really funny to go out and do them dressed as the Statue of Liberty next to the Liberty Tax dude, which just drives me crazy that there's a tax place called Liberty Tax. How contradictory can you be? Liberty Tax makes as much sense as jumbo shrimp, okay? But I wanted to show you some pictures of me and my friends doing that. And as I said last show, if you weren't here, that poor Liberty Tax guy was so confused when we showed up dressed in Liberty like he was, and he thought we were from like corporate office there to spy on him. But I want to show you these pictures because they're hilarious. So this is in Arizona. Let me find them. Right here, here, and here. Okay. So there we go. There's me, Sarah Daggers, Daryl Perry. The names of the other two people are, it's eluding me at the minute, but this is out in Arizona. But you can see, for some reason, the Liberty Tax Lady Liberty was in red. I've never seen a statue of Liberty costume in red, but you see him looking over at Sarah. He's like, what the hell's going on? I'm supposed to be the only person out here dressed up as the Statue of Liberty with a sign. And we had our taxation as theft signs. This was so much fun. So I would encourage this. We didn't harass him. We were super nice to him, but it was just funny how confused this guy got. Because remember, he's probably getting minimum wage. He's just there trying to make some money. Like, don't harass him. He's not responsible for the taxes, you know? But it was fun. It was fun. So I wanted to show you that. But something else I wanted to show you guys, and I forgot how this came up. But it was basically on the issue of trying to hide the ball on our position. And I always said, there's no point in doing that because the other parties are not stupid. Well, they're not, let's put it this way. No, they're not stupid. And they can read they're not illiterate either. And they can read our platform. And it's pretty sad when the opposition to us is the one highlighting our positions when we are weird. Facebook won't support this. That's strange. D. Frank said Facebook is crapping out. I don't know why. But it's better on YouTube anyway. I get the views. Please go to YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, please don't give Zuck the views. Yeah. So it's sad when the opposition has to say our positions, and they will paint them in the worst way possible. So I wanted to show you something that happened in Alaska. So let me put these here. This, when we were starting to get traction in Alaska, this is, I believe, what the Republican Party did. They ran this ad. It says 2-bedroom apartment, blah, blah, blah. And then it says individuals who work with their, it says, excuse me, no Alaskan natives, blacks, Jews, Poles, Episcopalians, Yugoslavians, Italians, and individuals who work with their hands need apply. So that's a caricature, an ugly, ugly caricature of our position on opposition to anti-discrimination laws. Okay? If we don't properly frame our own positions, if we're too scared to, this is what happens. Because our opposition can read, and they will paint it in the ugliest way possible. So in Alaska then, they said, unbelievable, not under the libertarian system. Okay, and there's a grain of truth in that. Under the libertarian system, someone could do that. And hopefully that someone would be ran out of town. But if someone owns an apartment, the state shouldn't be able to force them to rent to who they don't want to. But hopefully, the free market would take care of it. And if it doesn't, well, you want to know what? Life isn't always pretty, and there are assholes. Wouldn't you rather know who the racists are? So, continuing. And they quote our platform. Libertarians oppose laws against discrimination in housing, employment, and education. Without a liberty context, people will have no idea how to take this. And if we don't say it, then who will? Who will frame it right? Right now in Alaska then, at the time of this ad, people thought we were all about, you know, no blacks allowed signs. And that's not true. So if we don't say properly, others will. I'm going to show you a few others. This one was the ugliest. You know, it really was. But let's continue. Here's another one they ran. They were really threatened by us. Heroin for sale. Now, this one doesn't bother me that much, but maybe it's because I think I have a healthy view on drugs, and I think most Americans have a very unhealthy view on drugs. The fact is, human beings, since the dawn of time, have used drugs, and they will continue to do so to the end of time. And getting morally outraged about it is ridiculous. I don't have a moral problem with drugs. I'm not one of those libertarians who go, it's a freedom issue, but drugs are bad, okay? I don't feel the need to virtue signal like that. You want to do drugs, I don't give a shit. Okay, fact. Libertarians want the sale and use of all drugs legalized. we do. And he continue there. Libertarians call this a victimless crime. It is. Libertarians say heroin users are consenting adults. They are. Heroin users will no longer have to pay inflated prices for their heroin. True. Once these laws are repealed, so say the libertarians. That's absolutely true. And then they probably wouldn't have to go thieving around to support their habit. The businessmen that sell heroin, after all, will sell at a fair and reasonable price. Yeah, because competition will make them. The drug lords don't care. The cartels don't care. What's false about this? Libertarians say narcotics lose their artificial attractions in a society which has repealed prohibition of drug exchanges. That is true. It says perhaps they do. But do you want to find out? Well, wouldn't you? But now we know because Portugal has done it. Well, they decrimmed, but okay. Even with decriminalization, yes, drug use went down. So this is before Portugal, but still. Wouldn't you want to find out? Why not? Why wouldn't you want to find out? Or you just think that morally superior you, who has your drug of choice of alcohol and caffeine, you could send those nasty, dirty, long-haired heroin users to jail. Anyway, another one. That one wasn't so bad. And I actually like this one because it did represent our position fairly. It didn't say your kids are going to be shooting up heroin in middle school and their teachers are going to help them shoot up, which would have been the equivalent of that last nasty ad we showed. This one was actually fairly accurate. I don't have a problem with this one. Here's the next one. Oh, well, that one's funny. That's not it, though. I'll show you that one. There's another ad. Is this it? Yes. Help wanted. Laborers, teamsters, plumbers, and carpenters. $1 per hour. Okay, here's another caricature. It says, unbelievable, not under the libertarian system. Yeah, it would be unbelievable under the libertarian system, too, because those are perhaps not laborers, but teamsters, plumbers, and carpenters, they're skilled. They're not going to get paid $1 an hour or whatever ridiculous amount you're going to put up there. We do oppose the minimum wage. The minimum wage artificially inflates prices. And do you think that you are really getting bigger spending power when you're at the minimum wage? No, because prices just go up. Same thing will happen with a UBI. It says libertarians believe in the notorious open shop. Yeah, we do, but we're also not opposed to unionization. We're opposed to mandatory unionization. So does the libertarian brand of freedom mean the freedom to work for an unlivable wage? Yes, it does. We don't need you to protect us. Plus, do you think minimum wage back then? I don't know in 73, but let's just look at today. You think minimum wage today is livable? No, it's not meant to be livable. Anyway, you decide. Okay. That one is in badness in between the other one. The worst ad was the one on the housing. This one is deceptive because skilled labor is not going to be at $1 per hour, But, and I don't know what the minimum wage was then. Anyone know what the minimum wage was in 73? I know when I started working I started working when I was 16. So that would have been early 80s. And I think the minimum wage then was like $3.75 an hour. If I can remember correctly. I don't know. I worked at McDonald's. Was it $1.60? Oh, back then. Yeah, in 73. So if it was $1.60 then $1 per hour is not really that much lower. So what they're complaining about, oh my God, did they think $1.60 an hour was a livable wage? Oh, this is a ridiculous ad. But this might not have been 73. I don't know what year this ad was ran, and this was more recent. Never mind. I think this was in the 80s. I think this one was in the 80s. I didn't save the date on it. But this wasn't in the 70s. But anyway, wow, $1.60 in 1973. That's interesting. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to show you is just funny. I'm not endorsing it. This came from the Libertarian Party of Georgia. For those of you who are so upset about the Libertarian Party of Kentucky tweet, which was accurate, I think you would really groan at this one. I don't know who did this. It's cringe, but let me show you. I had it up for a second. Let me hide this. Here we go. The Libertarian Party of Georgia put this out. Oh my God. So if you don't see, it says expose yourself to libertarianism, and it's got a flasher. And then it says take a look. It couldn't hurt. I mean, this has got like sexual abuser pedo vibes all over it, man. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. I do not know who thought this was a good idea. So every time you're getting upset at anything that gets put out, just think of this. It could be worse. It could be this. When I saw this going through the archives, I was like, oh my God. Is that Larry Samuels? Oh my God. It's so bad, it's good. Oh, okay. So every time you feel yourself getting lathered up, just think of this. That's all I can say on that. Whew. Okay. I do have some other stuff to show you. Some teasers here. Let me get out of this screen. Okay, here we go. I have found some goodies. I've got treasures here. We are going to go through this. What do you think? $2. So, Libertarian Handbook 1972. This was referred to in an earlier LP News, and I knew I had it, but I didn't know where I put it. And then I was organizing my books the other day, and I found it. So, we will go through some of these. Oh, well, TJ, I hope everything came out okay. We'll go through this. We're not going to read the whole thing like word for word, but I'm going to find the good bits, and we're going to go over that. And what year is this? I found this in my personal collection. I'm trying to find what year. Oh, here we go. This was mentioned in an earlier episode, and I didn't know I had this, but it's a old like newsletter called Against the Wall, and we'll go through this. But there is an article that is about the 1972 convention. Oh, actually, no, no, excuse me. This is for the 82 convention. I got confused. But anyway, we're still going to go over it because it does a retrospective. I saw Denver and I just assumed it was 72, but it was 82. But it's got a whole thing on the LP. See, it shows this 72 thing. So we're gonna go through this Against the Wall. And this is their ad for whatever. I don't even remember where I bought this, but I bought it somewhere. This wasn't in the party records. Now, the LP also was a big proponent of this magazine. If D. Frank, do you remember all these? Is this bringing back memories? So we're going to go through this. This is the September 72 Outlook. And Carl Hess wrote an article on it, on disarming the state. And I had Outlook June 72. So we'll go through these. And I had Outlook, July, August 72. And they were, I don't know yet their relationship to the LP, like maybe D. Frank can let us know, but this magazine was very LP friendly. Though there is some articles in here like Robert Lefebvre, or how you pronounce his name, I always screw it up. He does have an article in here against political activism. That was always his thing. He was a non-political anarchist. But here's the treasure. You guys may remember in the lead up to the 72 election, they kept mentioning a flyer, or a pamphlet they called it, but it's actually a flyer, called McGovern, the Dangerous Decoy. And I was at agony to find that. Do you remember? Well, it turned out I already had it and I didn't know it. It came in a collection of things that I bought, because I buy just big collections of LP stuff to try to supplement our history. This is what's so funny about some of the salty bitches in Colorado who think like most of the stuff I show on this show is like stuff from the archives. I only show things that are available to the public, or things in my personal collection that I end up donating to the party that has cost me a lot of money. So this is the only, I've never seen this anywhere else. I think this might be the one of the few only copies of this. So we will go through this. And what else do I have here? I found some other, in a batch that I just bought off of eBay, I found some inserts we were missing from a lot of these issues. Like, let me show you. This is April of 72, which we went over. This one is for one that's coming up, so I'm not going to show that yet. And then this one is, they don't always have dates on them. I'm not sure what date this is. It has to be early because Susan Nolan is still listed as the party chair. So this has to be 72 of all the state chairs in the regions. I got to put this, yeah, there we go. Oh, which one do you want a closer pick of? I am going to be scanning all this, so you guys will be able to get it off of Alpedia. But if you were talking about this, but I will be scanning it so you can have your own personal copies. And then here, November 72 chairman, and a nice regional map on the back. And look what pristine condition this is in. In this last batch that I bought, guess what else it has in it? All the original registration cards for the 72 convention. So we'll be going over that. And I didn't bring that downstairs, and I don't know why. Here's another, a couple more copies of that early one where I didn't circle that. That's how I bought it. It had circles on it. I wonder why those are circled. TJ, then I'll get that scanned and shoot me an email and I'll send you the scan. And I had this. I don't have the actual magazine, but for some reason I had this ad. So I'm going to look for this. Yes, and Frank, D. Frank, they are in perfect condition. Mint. Absolutely mint. And I got them in a group of just stuff that I paid, I think, $20 for. Isn't that fantastic? And one reason I think I had this is because that Libertarian handbook ad is on the back. So yeah, that is some new stuff that I obtained. Now I want to tell you guys about some future shows I'm going to do. When we get up into the time period where I have press releases to go over, we'll start going over them. But I don't have them from this early. I do have the Libertarians want to abolish all taxation, and we will do that one. But they don't really start until like the 80s, 90s. So we're talking a while. But I wanted to show you. And listen, I might not wait that long. You know, I'm not trying to do it like year by year because, you know, we could be 50 years from now, right? But I am going to start doing press releases. But here's a press release I want to show you guys because it's hilarious. And this should make you mad. It'll make you glad and mad. When I show you this press release, you should be mad because the 1998 party thought that this issue was important enough to do a press release on, but we couldn't hardly stir the National Party to say shit about all the violations of our freedoms. And let me tell you, Biden saying amendments are optional, there isn't a press release yet in the works from the National Party on that. Why are we neutered? Who cut off our balls? Whoever has the LP's balls, will you please give them back? People need to stop saying, why is it that the only person with balls on the LNC doesn't have any, meaning me, but I'm not the only one, and there are people who act, but you get the point. You know? Please, whoever stole the LP's balls, give them back. But here you go. We put out a press release about a program to dump sand on the ocean floor, which is freaking ridiculous that we were paying money for that. But we got lathered up over this. They called it beach welfare, which is pretty funny. I love, and Steve Dasbach was chair at this time. Okay, I have so many good things to say about Steve Dasbach. And I know people disagree with me about Nick's first two terms. Nick went off the rails on his third term. But his first two terms, I said he was the best chair we had, and I hold that opinion during his first two terms. Third term Nick wasn't the same Nick. I don't know what happened to him. But a close second for the best chair we ever had, and since he never went off the rails, maybe I am going to say this guy was the best chair and put Nick in second place because he did not finish well, is Steve Dasbach. So here's Steve at the end of this press release. You can't fool Mother Nature, but apparently you can fool Uncle Sam, said Dasbach. Only the federal government could figure out a way to turn our money into sand and then turn the sand into ocean bottom. And check this out. Here's another quote from Steve Dasbach. Wave goodbye to your tax dollars. They're washing out to sea, courtesy of the federal government. I'm so proud of the party in the 90s. You want to know what happened after 2000? You want to know who took our balls? I figured it out. The terrorists. The terrorists who flew the planes into those buildings and 9/11 stole our balls. Because that is when I can pinpoint that our messaging started to suck. Whew. I get all worked up doing these. Could you listen, when I started this, I was real tired and by the end, I'm like all riled up. But that's good, right? I'm in my happy place when I'm talking about LP history. So that is it for tonight. I've got all kinds of shit planned. But yeah, that's it for tonight. But I do have a few closing things to do. So here we go. Please, please, if you support this show, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. These are thanks to my current patrons. I want to do this more, but I need to find a way where I don't have to work my day job quite so much. Plus, my job right now sucks, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to have it. I might be unemployed soon. So, yeah. If you can, for as little as $1 a month, though obviously you could do more, if you can afford it, and if you can't, do not feel guilty, because right now I couldn't. But if you can, please do the libertarian thing and support the free market and do free market support. These are my current patrons. Thank you so very much. And what we are doing on Patreon is Going through Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, 1972. And I also have another bonus episode up on Patreon where I do my quick and dirty argument against the libertarian, saying that it's not libertarian to believe in owning private nukes. I know a lot of macho flashers think, yes, we should be promoting private nukes. I do not believe that is libertarian. I give my argument against it, 3-minute argument on Patreon, and I believe I changed the mind of the person who was challenging me in 3 minutes or less. So that is a bonus episode on Patreon only. All right, everyone, thank you so much. And thank you for your consideration. And again, I do get so happy when I see the email that I got another patron. I get probably happy beyond reason. So I'm not going to put the guilt trip on you to say, if you want to make me happy. I mean, you make me happy just by being libertarians. So have an awesome night, and I will talk to you guys soon. Love y'all.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.